three different laws for vector addition. The first one was triangle law of vector addition. The second law was related to law of polygon for more than two vectors, you can see. And then we did discuss about parallelogram law of vector addition, which was the modification of triangle law. Now what this law says, it says a very simple thing. If a bar and b bar are the two vectors and the angle between them is theta, and they are represented by two adjacent sides of the parallelogram, which you can see in the figure. So a bar and b bar are the two vectors which are represented by two adjacent sides of the parallelogram, and the angle between them is theta. Then according to the parallelogram law, the resultant vector or the addition of the two vector addition will be given by the diagonal of the parallelogram, which starts from the same common point. Means it starts from this particular point. It could have been other diagonal also, but specifically we are talking about this particular diagonal, which will have the same starting point, and that diagonal will represent the resultant vector in this case. This was parallelogram law of vector addition. And then yesterday we established the equations for the magnitude of the resultant and the direction of the resultant, right? So the same thing we are going to, we are going to conduct that exercise, but in a different way today. And then we will go for the problems. So hopefully you have, gone through the previous session, and now we are in the continuation to that. Okay. So here you can see parallelogram law of vector addition, what it says. So if a question comes to you, there are two vectors a and b whose magnitudes are small a and small b respectively, and the angle between the two vectors they say is theta, then you are supposed to find the sum of the two vectors. A sum of the two vectors means we are going to employ parallelogram law of vector addition, and we all know what it means. Okay, so what it says is, if two vectors are considered by the adjacent sides of a parallelogram, then the resultant vector will be given by the diagonal, which starts from the same common point. This is what is being represented in the figure here. So before I show you the next slide, friends, what you can do is, and just have a quick note of this basically. So please note it down before I show you the next slide, and let me know once you're done with it. We are studying parallelogram law of vector addition in a different sense or a different way, you can say, because vectors cannot be directly added like scalars you can directly add them, you can directly subtract them, but when it comes to vector, directly you cannot add them or subtract them because of the directions involved. That these are the techniques where we keep on adding vectors using these laws. So again I repeat what parallelogram law of vector addition says. If two vectors a bar and b bar, say for example, are represented by the adjacent sides of the parallelogram as shown in the figure, and theta is the angle between them, then the resultant or the sum of the two vectors, vector addition, will be given by the diagonal of the parallelogram, which starts with the same common point, start from the same common point. This is what this law says. Okay, all right. Hopefully, I have noted this down. So let's move ahead. Then we'll derive the equation for the magnitude of the resultant vector then in that case. Okay. Yeah. Now there was a construction, friends. Yesterday, if you remember, what we have done, we have extended SR and we have dropped a perpendicular from P. All right. This was the construction yesterday. Now, if this angle is theta, this angle has to be theta. Why? Because two parallel lines and a transverse, corresponding angles, you can see. Now there are two right angle triangles, so RQP is a right angle triangle. So if you want this side, trigonometrically it will come out to be B sine theta, because if this is B, this has to be B. If this is A, this has to be A, because it's a parallelogram, right? So you can see this side will be, if this side is B, then this side will be B sine theta, and if this side is B, then this side will be B cos theta. This is what we have seen yesterday, if you all remember, right? So let's move ahead. We are interested in finding out the magnitude of the resultant, friends. Yeah, so to talk about the triangle now, this right angle triangle PQS. So hopefully you are able to locate it. Okay, so in the diagram, you can see triangle Q, and then S is a right angle triangle. So you can apply Pythagoras theorem here. So that gives you PS square, hypotenuse square, is equal to PQ square plus QS square. Now, when we talk about, you know, in a right angle triangle over here, if we talk about Pythagoras theorem, it comes out to be PS square equal to PQ square plus QS square. Now this PS, if you observe, so what is PS? PS is the resultant. It's a diagonal. It's a resultant. It's denoted by the notation C. Yesterday it was denoted by the notation R. So here it is denoted by the notation C. So time and again the notations can change. So far as you know the meaning of it, that is more important. Alright. So considering the meaning of it while deriving is more important. Notations can always change. Different books will have different notations. Now here for this particular diagram, PS square can be represented as C square. PQ, now we all know what is PQ, B sine theta. Okay, just put it as B sine theta square. QS, what is so QS, QS, QS? QS is A plus B cos theta. So you can see QS is this entire thing in totality will be A bar or A small a plus B cos theta, because we have considered the magnitude as small a and small b over here in this case. So QS can be represented as A plus B cos theta square. Square both the sides. Let's see what happens. You extend the square. So when you square it, you can see, C square will be B square sine square theta, this term, plus, now you expand this bracketed term, what you get is A square plus B square cos square theta plus the middle term will be 2AB cos theta. Now, the same thing can be represented as C square equal to A square, you take it first, plus B square, and what remains in the bracket, if you talk about the two terms, sine square theta plus cos square theta plus 2AB cos theta, friends. Now, sine square theta plus cos square theta is 1. You all know the trigonometrical identity. So then C square, that is the resultant, will be given as, you can see, given as C square equal to A square plus B square, because this bracketed term has become 1, okay, plus 2AB cos theta. So you take the square root of this. So what you get is, you take the square root, you can see, you just have a look at it. When you take the square root, friends, just give me a moment. Yeah, so here you can see C will be root of A square plus B square plus 2AB cos theta. This formula is exactly same to the yesterday's formula for resultant, if you can see. Only R is R is represented as C over here, P is represented as A, and Q is represented as B. Otherwise the formula is same. So this is another way of deriving the same thing. So we have established the magnitude of the resultant as per this particular law, friends. Again, what is this law? Law is very simple. If you want to add two vectors, apply parallelogram law. And what parallelogram law says? If two vectors are represented by the two adjacent sides like A and B, having an angle between them theta, then the diagonal starting from S will represent the resultant vector. And the magnitude of the resultant vector is given by this particular formula. In this particular diagram, C will be equal to root of A square plus B square plus 2AB cos theta. If you observe, it's the same diagram, you can say, same formula. But the notations have changed and the methodology of deriving the derivation has changed. So whichever you like previous methodology, you can adopt that or you can use this. So I'm just waiting for you to take a note of this. So quickly note this down so that I can show you the next part of the derivation, the next slide. Please let me know once you're done with it. Yeah, and hopefully the things are pretty clear and you understood the difference between the two methods also. Okay, good. So most of them say yes, and most of them respond that they have understood also. Okay, fine, good. So let's move ahead then. So the same formula, again we take a square root on both the sides and then you get this next slide, you can see. Yeah, so C will be equal to root of A square plus B square plus 2AB cos theta. Now, if the vectors were P and Q and the resultant was R, the same formula would have been R equal to root of P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos theta, which we have derived yesterday, if you remember. All right, now let's move ahead. Let's talk about the direction. So again, we talk about the right angle triangle PQS. Hopefully, you are able to locate the triangle. So if we talk about the triangle PQS, this is the triangle I'm talking about, PQS. Again, it's a right angle triangle. Now, if I want the direction of this, so that's given by alpha, because the diagonal is making angle alpha with the first vector. So alpha is the direction of the resultant. So let's say tan alpha in this case will be, if I'm talking about tan alpha of this triangle, will be opposite side, that is b sine theta, upon adjacent side, that will be a plus b cos theta, isn't it? So let's say tan alpha in this case will be pq upon qs. So pq you all know, as I said earlier, b sine theta, and qs is a plus b cos theta. So had it been in terms of p and q, it would have been q sine theta plus p plus q cos theta. Yesterday we have derived this. So alpha, if I want, so you can see one equation gives me the direction and other equation. So this equation gives me the magnitude. This equation gives me the direction of the resultant. So this is something which we have derived yesterday, friends. So please go ahead and make a note of it. The same thing is being derived in a different way. If you find this method comfortable, you adopt this. You could have you find yesterday's method to derive as comfortable. You adopt that. It all depends on you. Another way of making you understand things, friend. Okay. Okay. Hopefully done. Okay. Ayush also says done. Chal. Now, an interesting interpretation. Hopefully, you have understood the parallelogram law of vector addition to perfection. All right, this was regarding the sum of two vectors, friends. So let's interpret it now in a different sense. Hopefully, you are done with this. Moving ahead. Yeah, let's talk about the difference between the two vectors. Now, if I want to find the difference between the two vectors, that was the sum. Now I want to find the difference. So again, we are talking about the same two vectors, a bar and b bar. The angle between the two vectors is theta. A bar ka magnitude is small a. Small b represents the magnitude of vector b bar. Now you are supposed to find the difference between the two vectors. So what you are supposed to do using parallelogram law? Okay. So using parallelogram law, we know a bar plus b bar, magnitude of that will be given as root of a square b plus b square plus 2ab cos theta. This is something which we have derived right now. Okay, now what should happen if I'm going to work out a bar minus b bar? So in that case, what I'll have to do, instead of b bar in the positive direction upwards, I'll have to consider b bar in the opposite direction, and then I will have to put it as minus b bar. Now what's the difference in the angle? If this angle is theta, you can see this angle will be pi minus theta, isn't it? And now I can write a bar minus b bar can be then represented as a bar plus minus b bar. But now what is the angle between the two vectors? Because now I'm not talking about this vector, I'm talking about its opposite vector, which is in this direction. Then what is the angle between the two vectors? Pi minus theta. If this angle is theta, obviously this has to be pi minus theta, friends. So let's put it. Okay, let's move ahead. Yeah, so the resultant in this case it won't be in the upward direction. The resultant will start from the same point, but then you'll have to draw a parallelogram downwards like this. So this black color line gives you the resultant, friends. Okay, for the difference between the two vectors. So for difference between the two vectors, what I have considered, exactly opposite vector to b vector, you can see. Just extended this backwards. And then now this is the resultant, friend. We are interested in this magnitude of that. Okay, let's see. So let's that resultant instead of C. Earlier the resultant was represented by C. Here the resultant will be represented by D. And D in this case will be represented as A bar minus B bar. Why? Because ultimately you have to put it this way. This is A bar minus B bar. Alright, so this is how you get resultant. Let's move ahead. The same formula I will be using. This formula itself. So it was A bar plus B bar square, A square plus B square and the square root. plus 2ab. But now instead of theta, what's the angle between the two vectors, friends? You can see the angle between the two vectors is pi minus theta. Now if the angle between the two vectors is pi minus theta, I'll put it as pi minus theta. Pi minus theta, cos pi minus theta will come out to be, minus cos theta, isn't it? And therefore, in this case, the resultant will be given as a root of a square plus b square. And instead of the plus sign, it will be minus sign over here. Minus 2ab cos theta. So this is how you have changed the approach, If you want a difference between the two vectors, graphically you should go ahead with this. Yesterday I have shown you various cases where the angle between the two vectors was pi. You got the same formula because cos 180 was minus 1 and then you get this as minus 1. Either you analyze it that way or you analyze it this way, one and the same. So hopefully you have understood the analysis, friends. Okay, so now you can see this same diagonal I will superimpose here at the top. So the same diagonal from this particular end till this end will represent a bar minus b bar. If we were talking about a diagonal which was starting from this point and moving here in this direction, that diagonal was representing a bar plus b bar. But you can see this diagonal in an opposite order is representing a bar minus b bar. What I have done is I have just shifted this diagonal upwards to this. So this is how, the same thing what you have understood yesterday is being, represented graphically today. We are beating about the same bush. Whatever we have discussed yesterday, I'm telling you how the interpretation should be graphically today. Hopefully you have understood this, friends. Yeah. So from this, you can see, if you want a bar plus b bar, this should be the diagonal starting from the common point, moving this direction. If you want a bar minus b bar, then graphically, this is that diagonal which is to be taken in opposite order. Hopefully you understood how to work out difference. I will show you the previous slide once again. Yeah, you can have a note of this, and then I will show you the next slide before we move ahead towards the problems related to the concepts which we have studied today. Okay, most of you say yes, done. Okay, fine. So Samruddhi, did you understand this? This is something which we have discussed yesterday, but in a different way. And here we are discussing it in some other way, but then ultimately I believe you would have understood the discussion. You can unmute and speak, Samruddhi.
Yes, sir, it's easy.
Yeah, fine, no problem. Okay, so hopefully you have done this. You have made a note of this. Make a note of this slide also. Here, when you want to subtract two vectors, how exactly you would do it with using, this law. You want to add two vectors, how this law is being utilized. Both the things are being, denoted in this slide. Once you are done with it, let me know so that I can, start dealing with some problems pertaining to what we have studied today. Yeah, most of you say done. Okay, great. So we will solve some problems on what we have studied on this formulas. Okay. Yeah. Just give me a moment so that I can share a different screen with the people. Yeah, let me share this problem. What the problem says, you can see the resultant of the two forces, each of magnitude f, acting at a point is root 2f. So what they mean is, obviously you want to use this formula. Just now we have derived this. Yesterday we have derived this. R equal to root of p square plus q square plus 2pq cos theta. Today the formula was in terms of a and b. But this formula is the same formula which I'm talking about. Now what's given to you? Two forces of magnitude f. That means p is f. Magnitude of p is f. Magnitude of q is also f. And resultant of this is root 2f. That's what they say. Everything is given to you and you are supposed to find out the angle between them. Substitute the values. Instead of r, put it as root 2f. Instead of p, put it as f. f, here also it will be 2f square plus cos into cos theta, sorry. Then if you take it, this f square and f square will become 2f square. You can take 2f square common. When you take 2f square common, what remains in the bracket is 1 plus cos theta. You take the square root on both the sides, or you square both the sides in a way. This will be how much? Root 2f. Here also you take the square root, it will be root 2f. And what remains in the bracket is root of 1 plus cos theta. Alright, then what you can do is you can cancel root 2f from both the sides. So it will be 1 equal to 1 plus cos theta. Square both the sides. It gives you 1 equal to 1 plus cos theta. What does that mean? 1 minus 1 cos theta is 0. And when can cos of any angle be 0? When that angle is 90 degrees. So these two forces are perpendicular to each other. This is what it indicates. This is how you find out the angle between the two vectors using the formula for resultant under the given situation. Hopefully you have understood this problem, friends. Please make a note of it. And once you are done with it, let me know. Most of you say yes. Yeah. So people say yes. Okay. Good. So let's move ahead towards the next one. Let's try and understand how to solve the next type of problem based on this concept. What this concept says is, okay, so the resultant is given by this particular formula. This is the formula which we have studied. Let's deal with the next problem. Here, in this case, they have given you the values of the two forces, friends. You can see 12 Newton and 16 Newton. So P is 12 and Q is 16. So P square will be 144. 16 square will be 256. 2 into 12 into 16. And the angle between them is 45. So cos 45, you can see. Cos 45 means 0.707 or 1 upon root 2, one and the same. When you solve it, you put the values in the formula and you get the resultant, you can see. You solve it. 400 plus in bracket, it would be this entire thing. Okay. So taking the square root of it, you will get the magnitude of the resultant as 25.91 Newton. Then let's talk about the direction, because they are also asking you about the direction in this problem. It's not only about magnitude. So how you work out the direction, friends? So direction is tan alpha, we all know. The formula for tan alpha was P sine theta upon Q plus P cos theta. Now what I will do is I'll substitute the values in this. I'll work out the calculations and show you. Before I do that, I want you to make a note of this. Please let me know once you're done with it so that I can show you the next slide where the direction is worked out. Okay. Yeah, hopefully done. So most of you say done, friends. So good. Very nice. Okay. So let's talk about the direction. Now for direction, we have this formula tan alpha equal to P sine theta upon Q plus P cos theta. Put the values of P and Q and you get the value. Okay. So P is 12 and Q is 16. We're just putting the value. Sin 45 and cos 45, it amounts to same thing, 1 by root 2 or 0.707. When you substitute these values and you solve this, you get the value as 0.3465. You take the tan inverse of this, natural tangents in log tables. You take tan inverse of this. So how you take tan inverse? This is something which you will learn in mathematics. How to take tan inverse using log tables. So log table, you will get this value. Okay, search this value in natural tangents and corresponding angle you have to work out. So the angle for this value is comes out to be 19 degrees 7 minutes. So this operation can be done with the help of log table. So please make a note of this where you get the value of alpha. Sorry, yeah. Hopefully you are making a note of it. Let me know once you're done with it.